Today's show brought to you by HP. I want to talk to you about method, right? Now, and this story is not about the shiny Suds spot that was created by Droga 5 that then completely blew up in everybody's face and had a bunch of, certainly predominantly female groups coming out and saying that method promotes rape. And I mean, the accusations were totally over the top. So here's the story, right? For those of you that weren't following this. Actually a really great piece of creative with a almost mockery or parody of the typical kind of like shiny Suds, you know, there's everything being hunky-dory and squeaky clean and family friendly in the kitchen through household cleaning products. And then this woman, this mother who is kind of, you know, jumping and skipping around with Snow White and Bambi, etc. in the kitchen, ends up going to have a shower in the morning. And all the Suds are there, and they're male, and they're not just male, they're scum. Get it? Scum, residue. There are these Suds that are actually residue that stays behind because of the harmful ingredients. So they're lowlifes, they're scumbags. They are, in fact, male. They're men, right? They're typical men. And they leer on her and they say, basically prompt her and push her to take a shower in front of them. And they start kind of ogling at her, you know, and being really base and really, quite frankly, disgusting, because guess what? Residue left behind by unwanted and harmful chemicals is also disgusting. And eventually there's a very interesting scene with a loofah where they kind of egg her on to use the loofah and kind of groan, or not groan, but moan in pleasure. It's really meant to make you feel quite uncomfortable seeing this naked woman in her shower with these Suds kind of, you know, almost bullying her to kind of perform in front of them. Anyway, huge outcry, and method pulls the spot. Now this story is not, and my angle is not about whether in fact these women were over the top, because they were, and it's not about whether method should have pulled it or not, because in actual fact, you know, my belief is if you're bold or ballsy or dumb enough to kind of put it out there and you didn't anticipate the backlash, then shame on you. So when you put it out there, you got to stay the course. I don't think method should have created the spot in the first place. So I know Bob Garfield shares my point of view, or I share his point of view, that ultimately this was not a great execution in terms of the impact. And my angle is twofold. My angle is not, did it promote rape? Absolutely not. Was it funny? Absolutely. You know, here's my angle. 2 points. Point number one, I think that the woman involved that put pressure and used the blogosphere and used social media and used their influence to force this company to pull the spot knew exactly what they were doing. I don't think they believed what they were saying. I think they were outraged, but not to the point where they had to go over the top. But I think that they knew that by going over the top and being so, you know, blatant and brutal and hard-hitting, that would force, you know, especially with a little bit of Google juice going, force method, almost give them no alternative. That's angle number one. So the takeaway for you is your consumers are going to exaggerate and stereotype and use hyperbole, just like you have been doing for decades and decades, to not only get your attention but force your hand. That is a significant point. Point number two is, you know, I don't think method should have created the spot in the first place. They didn't need to. They're such a classy, sophisticated, darling brand. You know, they look good, they're clean, you know, and clean doesn't mean squeaky clean. It just means, you know what, they are so self-assured, you know, and so aspirational. They don't need to resort to schlocky tactics, to shock tactics. I think they missed an opportunity to really get people to act and motivate them to actually do something, and not just, you know, put it out there as a creative tactic, but as something that the community really could have gotten behind, you know, and forced the hand, in this case, the hand of their competitors, as opposed to, in this case, what happened, which was consumers forcing the hand of method. Interesting kind of reversal of fortune.